touch. You'll never in your life try to knock the truth. The illest shit ever. Get ready, cause this is about to get heavy.
Trying to keep me out, trying to censor what I say, cause they don't like what I'm talking about. So what's wrong with the media today?
Prove I'm lying if I ain't correct.
Here's what they think about you. Here's what they think about you. Here's what they think about you.
Fight World, it's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing, back with my segment, Here's What They Think About You. Here's what they think about you. In this segment, what I do is let your voice be heard, the fans, and I give a little bit of my commentary, but I read comments from the fans regarding important boxing issues and announcements. So I gotta talk about Canelo Smith, and we'll play a little Here's What They Think About You. Now, when this was made official, I posted on my Instagram. Make sure you guys follow me at Boxingego. And this is obviously from Golden Boy. I just reposted it. And here's my caption. Canelo Alvarez is abandoning Canelo weight of 155 pounds after 5 consecutive fights to fight Liam Smith for his 154-pound title. So why did Canelo bring Amir Khan, who only had 3 welterweight fights, to the full 155 pounds to defend a 160-pound title he would later vacate and give to Triple G? Seems unfair that Khan was made to move from 147, which he was relatively new to, all the way up to Canelo weight of 155 with no rehydration clause, when Khan is clearly a bigger UK star and not to mention global boxing star than Liam Smith. Why not shed the extra pound for Khan? Disappointing next fight by Canelo and Golden Boy. Not to mention this will be on HBO pay-per-view instead of regular HBO like Canelo Kirkland. But Al Heyman puts on all the mismatches, laugh out loud. Hashtag Canelo Smith. And I meant every word of that. So in layman's terms, what I'm basically saying and suggesting is, if Canelo was going to vacate his belt and just give it to Triple G, fine, whatever. That's his decision. He's not ready for middleweight, even though he was the middleweight champion. You don't really get to pick and choose when you're a champion. Of course, the bullseye is going to be on your back. But that's one thing. But the fact that if you're going to do that and get rid of your belt, the belts didn't mean anything to you, then why did you make Amir Khan move, who only had 3 fights at welterweight? You made a move. And the reason I said made is because I talked to Khan. Let me loop the clip so you guys can see, because this is what new media does. So as you guys can see, Amir Khan suggested that Golden Boy would not take the fight with him if it was anything under 55, no catch weight, and no rehydration clause. It was either agree to Canelo's demands and Golden Boy's demands, or you don't get the fight. And he was in search of a big fight. He got that, and he did good for some rounds, and he ended up getting knocked out. But the point being is Amir Khan is clearly a bigger UK star than a Liam Smith. So why are you willing to shed the extra pound for Liam Smith? Because he has a title? Khan doesn't have the title, but he has a way better resume, you know what I mean? And again, titles don't mean as much in boxing when you don't know much about the fighter. Most people haven't seen 2 or 3 Liam Smith fights just around the world, maybe in the UK, but that's the point. So is that title in that argument doesn't even make sense, because you just got rid of, you beat Cotto and got his title, a WBC respected belt. Everybody likes the green strap, everybody likes the green belt, right? Oh, little chicks. Oh shit, what the everybody likes the green belt, right? So obviously titles don't mean anything because you got rid of that belt and gave it to Golovkin. So now this WBO belt is so important that you have to shave an extra pound and put your body through that because you really just have to acquire this WBO belt from an unproven guy like a Liam Smith. That doesn't make sense to me. So we know that's not the case, because again, if the belt's meant, bottom line is this: if you're a superstar like Canelo, Floyd Mayweather, or Pacquiao, belts probably don't mean shit, especially when you've already acquired belts in the past. When you're making multi-millions of dollars and you're the A side and 90% of the equations, the belt doesn't define you. So let's cut it out. Now, obviously, if he were to keep the belt and defend against Triple G, then that would define you. Not necessarily for the belt, but because you're going in with another respected champion. So it just depends on the circumstance. But I don't believe that Team Canelo just needs that belt, the WBO belt, because why would you get rid of the WBC belt only to go after an unproven guy's belt in a lower division? And you had your last 5 fights were at Canelo weight, so why all of a sudden now the change? And here's another thing, and I'll get started with some of these comments. They said Golden Boy put out a statement saying, oh, we have a verbal agreement with Tom Loeffler. He came to the office. I made a video about that, right? He came to the office, verbal agreement to fight Triple G in the fall of 2017, which is over a year from now, so we just have to hold our breath, allegedly. And then Tom Loeffler came out after that and said that's not the situation. We don't have a verbal agreement, which is a whole nother story. But even still, they said the whole statement was basically, we want to acclimate and gradually move Canelo up to 160. So if your last 5 fights were at 155 of Canelo weight, last 5 from Angulo to Lara to Kirkland to Cotto to Amir Khan, last 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, were at Canelo weight, then if the goal is to gradually boost yourself up and your fighter up and acclimate to 160, dropping an extra pound to fight for a 154-pound title, isn't that going in the other direction? So why are you going to fight for him? Let's say you beat Liam Smith, which you should be favored to beat because nobody knows Liam Smith, and you've been in there with Lara and Mayweather and Angulo and Khan and all these other guys, right? So let's say you beat Liam Smith. You beat him and acquire his belt, then you're just going to drop it and gradually move up and ascend to 160. So it doesn't make sense any way you slice this whole story. You're going to fight Triple G in the fall of 2017, and you want to, instead of going after the #1 killer at 160 in Gennady Golovkin, and no guys, then you want to boost up and gradually move up in weight, fine. But you're going the opposite direction, which you haven't done in the last 5 fights. All of a sudden, you're shedding an extra pound. It's not making sense. Let's get into some of these comments. Jesse says, damn, that's a pay-per-view fight. Won't do more than 250 to 300,000 buys. Now, I agree with that. But you got it. Here's a fun fact. The Canelo versus Lara fight and Canelo versus Angulo fights did under 400,000. If memory serves correctly, they did 300 to 375, right around there, 1,000. So if those fights were doing that, and Angulo had a name and they were both coming off of losses, but he had just gave Laura a tough fight, and also Laura has a name, champion and stuff, pedigree, then I don't even know what type of numbers these will do, just because they probably won't even release it, because it's hard to believe that Lara and Angulo in fights like that, and even the Amir Khan and Canelo fight, that didn't do that great. It did like 500, 550,000, 400,000, somewhere in that market. So I agree. I don't see how the numbers could possibly be good. Shaking my head. Junior Torres said, I agree. One word to describe Canelo and Golden Boy: disappointing. Bradley says, Canelo should have fought the winner of Thurman versus Porter on pay-per-view. I talked about that in the announcement video of this fight. This lets me know that there was no intention to fight Porter Thurman, because if there was, then you would wait for the outcome of the fight, which is happening tomorrow. You wouldn't just automatically announce Liam Smith the day before Porter Thurman if he was really a candidate. Hustler 420 says, day before my G-Day, hope Canelo loses. Wow. Walt, I'm a Canelo fan, but this is a bad fight. I'm a boxing fan, and I don't even know who Liam's is. See, that's the same thing. I report boxing. That's my goal. So, yeah, that's the thing. I report boxing, and I literally didn't know much of anything about Liam Smith, and that's just 100% honest. And there's no way anyone can convince me he's the best at 154 without proving it. It's all about proving it. I don't know how good he can be or whatnot. That's not my job to prophesize things like that. But based on what he's done, there's no indication that that's the case. Next comment is from Daddy Villa. Golden Boy are the biggest hypocrite in the game. Whack ass fight. Hope Canelo gets KO'd. True talk. Praying Canelo gets beaten, exposed. You called it, Ego. Hey, I just speak from logic, not the heart. Ezekiel said, I'm never going to doubt anything you say, Ego. You truly know your shit. How did you see this coming? Gained a lot of respect for you. Well, I appreciate that. And I just try to put stuff in perspective and call it how I see. The funny thing is, people lately have been saying, oh, you hate Canelo. I actually like Canelo, like his fighting style, but I like boxing way more. I was like pretty much born into this sport. I was born ready, you know what I'm saying? So no matter what, I'm not trying to sugarcoat it or lie to myself or to the public on my channel. And I speak my mind. Some people are going to love it and some people are going to hate it. And I just don't see this as the good, rightful next step for a star like Canelo. Cherries. See, now this is the thing is, how come whenever there's bad news or like a fighter under criticism, like let's say Canelo, people always bring up other stuff like Heyman or Gennady Golovkin. Golovkin doesn't, I'm going to tell you guys this. I have my own criticisms for Golovkin, but in this situation, he didn't do anything. My only criticism for Golovkin is he's in a division that's lackluster, and there are some guys avoiding him, but maybe at this age, 34, he should move up to challenge himself. He doesn't have to, but if you definitely can't secure the biggest fight for your legacy, the time is ticking. That's my only thing, my only knock is he looks really good in his fights. I just got to see him in with somebody better. Like, that's why I was hoping they had the Carl Froch fight, because that is the type of fight that would tell me what I need to know, and he was down for that fight, and Froch ended up retiring. But you can't blame Golovkin for this situation. What did he do by saying, hey, no, give me my belts? Like, it's not his fault. Canelo literally gave him the belt, and this fight's not taking place. So what does Golovkin have to do? Same thing with Heyman. Heyman has Porter Thurman, which is happening tomorrow. So how are they both putting on shit fights? Heyman has AJ versus Dominic Breazeale. Whether you like Breazeale or whatever, AJ still has a lot to prove. He only has 16 fights. They're both undefeated. It's a guy he's going in that's taller than him and has a knockout in his last fight against a named guy like Amir Mansour. They've both been to the Olympics, so it is what it is. There's no way you could compare that to like a Canelo Smith. You got Carl Frampton moving up in weight fighting Leo Santa Cruz. You could say, oh, both guys avoided Rigondeaux, but that's still a good fight regardless. You got Jesus Cuellar versus Abner Mares, which got moved back because Abner Mares couldn't get the clearance in New York. Those are all good fights, so don't try to throw Heyman into the mix because Canelo's fighting Liam Smith. Pay-per-view. I hope no one buy it. This is a straight to DVD type fight. Wow. Horse shit. Lame. Laugh out loud. Alva lame. Laughing my ass off from my dude Daryl. I am STL says, man, what in the fuck is this bullshit pay-per-view? Is Canelo and Oscar serious? Danny Garcia compared with Canelo, an iron picker. Who is really cherry picker? Everybody know that coward Alvarez. Wow, because Canelo's a bitch. Wow, you guys are going in. See, and that's the thing is, when fans of fighters, they don't like a certain fighter, they'll blast them with criticism. Floyd cherry picked his whole career. Pacquiao sucks. Danny Garcia is a cherry picker. Now me, I call it like I see. When Pacquiao fought Chris Algieri, I had the same criticism, right? I also said I didn't really care to see a Maidana Part 2 because I thought Floyd won the first fight, right? You look at Danny Garcia, when he had the Rod Salka bout, I complained about it. You can check, the videos are still up. It's not like I deleted them. You know what I mean? The videos are still on my channel where I gave that same criticism. But people let their emotion and criticism overtake. Danny Garcia has a good resume, right? He's been in there with Matisse, who was supposed to knock him out, Amir Khan, who was winning, and it was a champion, I believe, when he fought him, and just a good fighter in general. And he beat those guys. Zab Judah, he has a good resume, but people want to throw insults at Danny Garcia, but then when their fighter does something which is pretty much worse than anybody has done in recent memory, like the Rod Salka was one thing, but he got over that. He got the criticism for it, and then he fought Peterson. Then he fought Malignaggi. Then he fought Robert Guerrero. So whether you thought those were the best fights for Danny Garcia or not, those are still bigger names per division, per capita, than a Liam Smith. And again, talking about Canelo Smith, after becoming pay-per-view stars, name a time where Floyd Mayweather Jr. or Manny Pacquiao fought someone that you had never ever heard of. Like the general consensus with a lot of boxing fans was, who is this guy? See, when Floyd fought Maidana, people said it was a cherry pick. Oh, flat-footed, he's too slow, yada, yada, yada. Maidana gave him a good fight, better fight than Pacquiao. But we still knew who Maidana was. He had just thrashed Broner, which everyone was talking about and excited, and he knocked him down twice. He got a lot of buzz from that victory. There's tons of Broner memes, and Broner, even after getting knocked down, he was in rap songs. People, Fabulous put him in the lyrics. He said something like, fiends flying through the ropes like Broner, or some like Broner through the ropes, something like that. So Maidana got a lot of buzz from that. Even before that, Maidana had been in there with Kotelnik, Eric Morales. He had been in there with Victor Ortiz when Ortiz was being pushed, right? So when even Chris Algieri fought Provodnikov, and I'm not saying that wasn't a mismatch. I knew Pacquiao was going to destroy him, which is what happened. But the bottom line is, I don't recall a time where there's been a person who was already established on pay-per-view, meaning they had 2, 3, 4 pay-per-views under their belt or whatever the situation is, plus co-main event pay-per-views, and they took a backtrack like this where when it was announced who they're fighting, people were like scratching their head. I know diehard boxing fans, and they're like, Liam who? Who is that? It's not a good look. Here, another comment. Carlos Gotti. Everyone does it nowadays. So again, it's funny because people leave these comments and they're super ambiguous. Andre Ward is scheduled, they have a date, time, and a venue to fight Kovalev. So neither of them are doing it. Terrence Crawford is fighting Victor Postal. 2 champions unifying. Neither one of them are doing it. PBC has the Showtime CBS fight with Thurman Porter. Neither one of them are doing it. Abner Matis is fighting Jesus Cuellar, a champion, and it's a champion with power, and he got knocked out before not too long ago, a couple years ago, versus Johnny Gonzalez. So you can't say either one of them are doing it. So what do you mean everyone is doing it? Vasyl Lomachenko moved up a weight division, took on a champion in Rocky Martinez. Whether you think he's the strongest champion or not, he was a champion. He was the person that had the belt, right? Moved up. Canelo's fighting a champion. Like, there's no way you could compare Rocky Martinez's resume with Liam Smith, because Rocky Martinez had 2 wars with Orlando Salido. He had experience fighting Mikey Garcia, etc. He had fought Juan Carlos Burgos. You know what I mean? So he's been in the game. We don't know. Liam Smith doesn't have that type of pedigree per division. So all these guys, what do you mean everyone does it nowadays? Who's doing this? Deontay Wilder was in Russia when Povetkin failed a drug test. So what do you mean everyone is doing it? What other fighters are doing it? I'm not saying there's nobody that's doing it, but you can't just try to take that's what it is. Misery loves company. Because Canelo's in the hot seat, you want to lump everyone together on it. Everyone does it. Who's doing it? You can't say Crawford and Postal. Kovalev, Ward. Who are you talking about? Everyone's doing it. They're talking about Broner might fight Pacquiao. That's a very difficult fight for Broner. So you can't say he doesn't have balls if he does fight Pacquiao, because he would clearly be favored to lose that fight. What else? See, this is why I can't talk boxing with people. I guess he responded to me. Don't act dumb. PBC also has Stevens versus Williams. So Thomas Williams Jr. just brutally knocked out a puncher in a fight where he got hurt, and I was at that fight live covering it, and he knocked him out. He stretched Edwin Rodriguez, something Andre Ward didn't do. Andre Ward was beating him, but he didn't knock him out like that, right? Michael Seals, the other up-and-coming hotshot dude, didn't knock out Edwin Rodriguez. So that's a solid fight. Stevenson versus another guy who is coming off of a sensational knockout of a guy who has power and has never been knocked out. That's not I don't see that as a terrible fight. Wilder versus Areola, that's just dumb, because as I mentioned just 5 minutes ago, Povetkin was the main person targeted. Wilder did his part. He trained. He had a training camp. He was in Russia when it happened. So the only reason we're getting Areola, see, people act moronic. The reason we're getting Wilder versus Areola is because it's a substitute. Do you guys know what a substitute is? A substitute is not the first option. And the reason the first option wasn't available is because the WBC canceled that fight because one of the parties involved, Povetkin, failed a drug test. And those are some of their bigger fights. Lies. Thurman Porter, Carl Frampton versus Leo Santa Cruz. Those would be their bigger fights. the fights you just mentioned are good fights, but you act like that's all PBC puts out. I never said that, but again, when you're putting out 50 fights, of course not all of them are going to be spectacular. Fanfare versus Better Biev, but you just seen Fanfare against Joe Smith Jr., and obviously that wasn't a mismatch because the underdog won. You know what I mean? I actually had someone say that dumb shit. They said, oh, that was a mismatch. How's it a mismatch when Joe Smith Jr. knocked him out in the first round? See how idiotic some of the people say? So everything is the Rashid Warren got a title shot versus Payano, and you can't say that was a mismatch because Payano beat him, and then he beat him. Rashid Warren beat him. You know what I'm saying? So Heyman is still protecting way more fighters, just like Golden Boy is with Canelo. Again, no explanation. Again, Carlos Gotti responded, I guess, to me. All I'm saying is everyone cherry picks once they're at the top. Like I said before, Mayweather Pacquiao, when have they cherry picked someone you have never heard of? Like they just fought. They're like, oh, Pacquiao's going to be. You can't even say Algieri because that was a mismatch. We knew that. But Algieri had made some noise because he had one eye and he battled back versus Ruslan Provodnikov and won a title at 40. And then he fought Pacquiao at a catchweight. I don't agree with Canelo whatsoever. It's embarrassing as a Mexican. And you are right there, Ego. They're always fought at least a pay-per-view draw. Exactly. But this is Oscar. If it was up to Canelo, he would fight Triple G. And I don't know. A lot of people are saying this. I don't know that. At first, I was thinking the same thing. Like, oh, maybe it's just Oscar. But the reason that it makes me question it is because Showtime had an all access. If I could find it, I'll put the link in the description. But I know I watched it. Oscar De La Hoya said on camera that he was against the idea of Canelo facing Erislandy Lara. But Lara hopped on stage, embarrassed Canelo, called him out, had been calling him out for over a year, and him hopping on stage was insulting to Canelo's manhood or machismo, because he tried to upstage him because Canelo had just beat Angulo or somebody, and then Lara hopped his ass on stage and embarrassed him. So he was like, no, the gloves are off, enough is enough. Oscar, send the contract to him, we got to scrap. So again, I was thinking that too, like, man, it's Golden Boy's cash cow. Maybe they just don't want to put Canelo in like with the Triple G. But how come Oscar's on record saying that he was against the fight with Erislandy Lara and the fight still got made once Canelo put his foot down? So if Canelo truly wanted to fight Gennady Golovkin and he feels he's getting backlash from the public and people are calling him a coward, and Tom Loeffler clearly still wants to fight, Abel Sanchez clearly still wants to fight, Triple G still wants to fight, why would they vacate the belt and then go in the opposite direction and move down an extra pound to fight a Liam Smith? You know what I'm saying? So why didn't Canelo put his foot down right then and there? Again, Boxing Ego, the future of boxing. Thank you. I appreciate that. I just try to do what's right and do what's fair for the sport that I love. Ego, does the WBC have the power to set the split percentage of the fights? Because on a Spanish program with Chavez Sr. and some other commentators, they were saying WBC was mandating the split of Canelo versus Triple G to be 55-45. Apparently, on the basis of Canelo let the belt so he could negotiate, but then nothing happened. I guess it's true because WBC made Triple G lineal champ right away without a fight, so he could still get a commission paycheck if the fight went through. That's kind of off topic, so I'll try to cover that in the Monday Mail Day or something. But bottom line is there's different types of ways fights are negotiated. Sometimes if it's like a mandatory position, the camps have the opportunity to agree and have a personal bet or a deal between the two parties. If that is a mandatory positioning type of fight and it can't be done, it goes to a purse bid, which is what happened with Alexander Povetkin and Deontay Wilder. And then Povetkin's side won the purse bid, so as a result they got to stage the venue, have a date within a certain amount of time, and the purse bid was the amount that was put up in the auction to make the fight. And then there's a stipulations as how much Wilder would get and how much Povetkin would get, being the interim challenger or whatever. Holman says, boxing fans but never heard of Liam Smith. Maybe watch something rather than American fights. See, that comments like this, probably, if I click on this guy's page, I guarantee he's probably from the UK. It's not even a thing about segregating the different regions of the world. as Americans, we don't have Sky Sports and Box Nation. A lot of times we have to stream that stuff, so it's not like it's readily available. Just like when there's big fights in the US and all my friends in the UK have to stay up till 3 and 4 a.m. in the morning. That's just kind of how it goes. So we don't always have the luxury of seeing all the rising stars and Lee Selby before he becomes a champion and guys like that. So it's not just about, oh, we don't want to watch. Some of you, that's why a lot of times the UK fighters have to make noise. I mean, it's no different. It's not just like a UK thing. If there's a hot prospect in Mexico, then unless he's making a lot of noise, Canelo had to come to the States, which is why he just got sued and lost $8.5 million to a former promoter, All Star Boxing or whatever, because he came to the States and that's when he blew up. He wasn't blowing up as much in Mexico. He was making somewhat of a noise enough to bring him to the States, and then that's where his career went. They're like, who is this kid? He's born ready, got red hair, etc. So it's pretty customary that if you're in the States, you're not going to know about everyone for every region. I don't know about all the up-and-coming fighters from Ghana or Australia. I don't know about everybody, so you kind of have to make some noise. You would realize he's WBO super welterweight champion via vacant belt. I do realize that. And comes from the biggest boxing family in England. Yeah, Paul Smith and Caleb Smith. Hope he does what Khan couldn't and knock Canelo out. This is interesting. I thought he was supposed to be taking tune-ups at the full 160 to get ready for Triple G in September 2017, which is what I said earlier in the video. You're headed in the other direction. Triple G's at 160 waiting for you with your old belt, and you're losing the extra pound that you haven't done in your last 5 fights to fight an unknown guy who's not worldly, like, notorious and known. Canelo as a whole, mas puto. The answer to why he made Khan go up and not Liam is because Liam has a belt. See, I don't even want to read the rest of that. Hold on, actually you said something about Will. Canelo's going back to 154 and just wants to pick up a paper title to market his fights with. In reality, the 1 pound makes no difference. Khan got knocked out, and so Will Smith. Haha, wait, I just said Will Smith. That's funny. Okay, I'm done. Yeah, but see, that's what I'm saying. That's the only justification, is that Liam Smith has a belt, even though how he acquired it and who he's beat is the thing that we're questioning. Doing that against this, but didn't do it for Lada and disrespected Lada's WBO title. This Canelo is a punk like Santa Cruz that ran away from Rigondeaux, vacating his title. New age of Mexican fighters are pussies. Laugh out loud. Won't be watching. Actually, I will watch, just won't be paying for it. Hoping for the upset. Used to like Canelo, but this is disappointing. This needs an Ego Valley video ASAP. This is bullshit. A step backwards. Literally a step backwards, because now he has to shave another pound. Canelo won't face top fighters at 154. That's a fact. Literally worst early birthday presents ever. Thanks, Canelo. I'm a Canelo fan and I'm not buying this bullshit. Wow. You guys can, this video's long enough. You guys can read some more of the comments and also in the videos to interact and partake. Again, it's just, you can say whatever you want. It's just disappointing. I don't think there's anyone that really, this is my reaction when I found it out. I was like, oh shit. I don't know anyone that really requested this fight, like who was checking for this fight. So what people do is try to deflect, and they bring up a whole, oh, what about Pacquiao fought this person 2 years ago? We're talking about the current. You know what I mean? What is Pacquiao's retired or says Pacquiao? We don't know. But I want to talk about current events, not everything and only things that happened 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, Pacquiao is very accomplished. So no matter what, he's already accomplished. He can end his career how he wants to end it, but he's already accomplished more than anyone in boxing history by becoming an 8-division champion. Canelo's still paving his way, plus he's young. So of course, as a young, strong champion, you'll probably get held to a different standard than somebody who's at the end of their career, like a Pacquiao, Cotto, Mayweather, because those are all great fighters, but they've already done a lot for the sport. Actually, let me just read a few comments from Golden Boy's official page, just so you don't think, oh, it's because they're just hating because they're agreeing with you. Thumbs down, chickens, what a joke. Wow, about to boycott this, chickens, this is killing boxing. Cherries, run while you can. Paul Smith brother. shit. Fuck you. Thumb down. Wow. Good fight. We'll be watching and can't wait till next year, September. Team Canelo. F the haters and block them out. Keep it up, young stud. This is suspect. Keep it up, young stud. See, some of y'all fanboys be riding too hard. It's a good fight, but who is Liam Smith? Tell me. I want it from Luis effing Bobber or whatever. You tell me what Liam Smith fights you've seen, and you break it down stylistic. If you're watching this video, stylistically in the comment section, break down the attributes of Liam Smith. And that's the thing, most people can't. They can't intelligently break down, oh, it's a good, they're just saying it's a good fight because it's Team Canelo. So no matter what, it's a good fight. You know what I mean? Break down the fight and tell me what strengths Liam Smith brings into this. Is it experience? He clearly doesn't have the edge in that. He's not tremendously bigger. He has a 54% knockout ratio. He's not coming off of a sensational win. Like, let's say he knocked out Willie Nelson or anybody, Andrade or something. Come on. Basura, which means trash. Bitch made De La Hoya Canela. This fight sucks. I ain't buying shit till he fights Triple G. The fight going to suck at Golden Boy. Wow. And this is on Golden Boy's page. This is not even me. So don't you Triple G bullshit. Girls getting their manicures. Suck ass fight. Hope it's free. Cause I ain't spending my money on that. Haha. Y'all are going to it. Better not be pay-per-view. Well, it is. Boo. If it's pay-per-view, nobody should buy this garbage. Terrible disgrace. Not knocking Smith, but this is stupid. Not even at 160. Tune up to Triple G. See, okay, I'm done after this. Y'all make no sense. How is this a tune up to Triple G when Triple G is a massive puncher at 160 and this is headed underneath the Canelo weight that he's fought his last 5 fights? How is that a tune up? Fighting a guy with a 54% knockout ratio who doesn't have the amateur pedigree, doesn't have the pro pedigree of a guy like a Golovkin. He's not as big of a puncher at 54. So how's that a tune up? You know what I mean? Wouldn't a tune up be David Lemieux, a guy like Curtis Stevens, Willie Monroe, anybody who's at middleweight, that especially if they pack a punch or fight similarly to Golovkin? You know what I mean? This ain't no tune-up and it's heading in the direction. It's like Amir Khan. How is that a tune-up? You're fighting a welterweight. That's going to prepare you. A speedy welterweight who has durability issues is going to prepare you for Golovkin, who's taller than Amir Khan. I seen a picture of him, and Amir Khan looked tiny next to Triple G. So Triple G's bigger. He has a better chin. He's powerful. He has a great amateur pedigree. So I knew Khan didn't prepare him for Triple G, just like Liam Smith ain't gonna prepare you for a Triple G. Horrible, robbing the fans. Enough of this marinating BS. Garbage. This shitty fight better be free. Everyone wants to see Canelo versus Triple G, not this. Wow. Whack. On HBO, not HBO pay-per-view. No, it's HBO pay-per-view. Straight up, waiting a full year to fight Triple G. So many things can happen to both fighters. He shouldn't have hyped us up. He should shut the fuck up, garbage. Wow, this is on Golden Boy's page, y'all. So it's not even just me. So it's good to know that real boxing fans are speaking out with what they like and what they dislike. Boxingego, the future of boxing. I just keep it real, and I don't see the value of the Canelo Smith fight. Canelo, he's not at a point where he should be fighting merely for titles, and especially when that title is from the most unproven guy at 54. You know what I mean? There's more merit and value beating an Andrade who doesn't currently have a title, but he was a former titleist, and the only reason he doesn't have a title now most likely is because he got stripped, not because someone beat him. Same thing with Vanes Martirosyan. He doesn't have a title, but he gave Laura 2 competitive fights and Olympic pedigree, was trained by Freddie Rhodes, so he got a good experience. He's been in there with everybody. The Charlo brother, he's been in there with Willie Nelson, knocked down Demetrius Andrade, knocked down Ishe Smith. So it's not just about titles, it's about pedigree. Let me know what you guys think. Canelo Smith, and there's more videos coming. Someone said, stop making these videos about Canelo and getting paid off of it. Get a job, you bum. Nope, I'm making more videos, and y'all can't do nothing about it. And I'm gonna make an Ego Valley video. Let me know what you think. Drop in the comment section. Here's what they think about you. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.